He looks so cute.
Oh,
good Snookums. Are you gonna deliver the podcast, Snookums? No.
He got shy.
He did. He got camera shy. Are you ready?
Hold on. There we go.
Hi, and welcome to the first episode of the LUCKYTOWN Podcast. Do you like our poster that we made?
We just made it.
It has its charm and its childlike innocence. Anyways, so today we're gonna make the first episode of our podcast, and since we haven't really done any kind of introduction on this channel, we thought it would be fun if, for the first episode, we just kind of talked about our background in art school, because both of us are currently juniors at RISD, which is the Rhode Island School of Design, if you didn't know. So we're gonna be talking about art school stories, and it's gonna be kind of a mixture of advice, but also just like spilling the tea.
Yeah.
You know, like good old stories. So I think we should probably just start from the beginning. Right?
Yeah. Well, we're on a gap year right now.
Oh yeah, true.
Yeah.
Another really important thing. Both of us, because of the coronavirus, decided to take a gap year from RISD to focus on this dream that we've had of starting a small business. Ever since freshman year, both of us have wanted to start like an online art business.
It's our dream.
Mm-hmm, it's our dream. So we thought this gap year would finally be a good opportunity to start that. So we created LUCKYTOWN, which is a fictional town where lots of creepy, eerie, unexplained things happen. Both of us are really interested in like paranormal, true crime, just weird things. So all of those things kind of manifest in this town, which is very exciting. So if you want, you can check out our social media. It'll be linked in the description. It feels funny saying that. So you can kind of familiarize yourself with the storyline of LUCKYTOWN and see just what goes on here. Yeah. We got prints, resident plushies, and postcards and stickers and a bunch of other things coming soon to the shop. So we'll keep you guys also updated on when our shop is going to launch if you guys are interested in supporting us and buying anything. So, yeah. Okay, let's go ahead and start. Who wants to start first? Do you want me to start?
Well,
I kind of want you to start because it's
for me.
funny.
Yeah. Okay, so I guess I'll start. We can start with like why we were interested in art school.
Yeah.
I personally didn't know. I think we both didn't know until later on in high school that we wanted to do art as a career.
I think you can look more at me when you talk.
Okay.
Because I think that's like the normal thing to do on like a podcast.
Okay.
Or you can look at the camera, whatever you want.
I was looking at you.
Okay.
And I originally was going to be a major in engineering. And I took an engineering class and I really hated it. So I don't know, I just like felt like it was right. I felt like I could express myself more through art, and even though I have no like any classes or any training before going to RISD, I applied and I got in and I was very excited.
Mm-hmm. It's really interesting because I feel like in high school, I mean, I don't even know if like you were, I think you were really different back then because you were T. I'm gonna toot her own horn for her. She was the salutatorian of her graduating class of high school. Very like book smart, savvy.
Yeah.
Queen gal.
I was very shy and I only focus on school, and I think that's like something I would go back in time. I would have more like personal experience. I didn't really have a life. I just like focused on studying the whole time. Then when I got to RISD, it was like a shock, honestly, because I don't think I was ready.
Mm-hmm. And when did you say you decided to start studying art?
Well, I was always interested in it when I was younger, but I think I knew when I was a junior, like later in the year, maybe like middle of the year. Mm-hmm. And then I just like I looked at a bunch of other colleges that weren't for art, and then I realized that like I wasn't interested in anything there, and I was just like, I couldn't imagine myself there at all. Mm-hmm. And then when I saw RISD for the first time, I was like, this is unbelievable, and I can really see myself spending 4 years here. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
And what were like your parents' initial reactions? Because that's like a big part of it is when you're young and in high school. I think my parents too were also kind of a little bit unsure.
So my mom always had this dream that she was always like, you are good at everything and I know you can study and everything and I think you could be a doctor or an engineer, anything you put your mind to. And when I was like, I talked to my parents and I was like, I think I really want to just focus on looking for an art school and an art career. They were trying to be supportive, but I could tell that they were a little bit disappointed. My dad is more of like an artistic person, but my mom, I think, didn't really understand as much. No shade to my mom.
Yeah,
but my mom.
Yeah, she's very supportive now.
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I'll talk about me.
You.
Okay, so in high school, I was like an A and B student. I was not at Julie's level. But up until about junior year, I was taking the science route. I thought I was going to work in like some kind of environmental science field because I was in a club that dealt with a lot of that stuff. At one point, I even thought I was going to work for the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency. I know, a soil scientist to be specific. But then, I think, what was the turning point? I remember freshman year of high school, I only took the arts foundation class that's like required. And then sophomore year, I didn't take any art classes. It was like a big gap. And then junior year, okay, this was the turning point. I decided to take a photography class for the first time. And that was so exciting because every week, like, we would just come in and present our photo assignments on the projector. And I was just so excited to kind of show what I made every week and see people's reactions and stuff. And that was the first time that I felt like, wow, like, this really is, like, a really freeing way to express myself. Especially because, like, I'm the same way. Like, I was also pretty shy and reserved in high school. Still am, kind of. But that was definitely, like, the first time I'd ever felt anything like that. So then I was like, okay, like, I really want to keep going with this. So next semester after that, I took, like, a drawing class. That was okay. The teacher was kind of just like, anything you made, she'd be like, oh, like, that's amazing. Yeah. Just stuff like that. But then junior year, halfway through, is when I decided to apply for pre-college at RISD, which is crazy. If you guys don't know, RISD offers a 6-week intensive summer program called pre-college, where it's like rising juniors and rising seniors can go to RISD for 6 weeks in the summertime, and they basically just experience like foundation year condensed. So you take all like the drawing, spatial design classes, even art history, all just in 6 weeks. So it's really crazy. That was definitely a really interesting experience. That was the first time I've been away at home for that long. So I definitely dealt with a little bit of like sadness from that separation, but also it was mixed with a lot of excitement because that was the first time I was in like a city, you know, and studying art like that. I definitely wasn't as prepared as other students because I was mixed in with like the crowd of people who like knew they wanted to go to that school since they were in like elementary school or middle school. But yeah, that was also first time I'd ever experienced like all-nighters and stuff like that. Just like really, really insane amounts of stress. But at the same time, like, I don't know, RISD is very notorious for having insane workloads, but at the same time, like,
it's
I guess, yeah, like, it makes you grow. It forces you to grow, which is I guess, like a positive thing.
Yeah, it depends on the person. It depends on how you take it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like, if you can't handle it in the beginning, you will force yourself to handle it by the end. Because you just get accustomed to it, whether you like it or not. But it definitely has its perks. There's definitely some really rewarding moments, I think. But yeah, so I did pre-college, and I did digital photography was my major for that. Because I was still riding the photography wave. I thought pretty much for sure that I wanted to study photography and be like a magazine photographer or something like that. And then senior year of high school, I took AP Art Portfolio all the way through fall and spring, and I did photography for that as well. I remember up until about junior year, I was trying to fit in with like the AP smart kids. And so senior year, I was set up to take like AP literature and AP statistics, I think. And I couldn't take AP art portfolio unless I dropped both of those classes. So I went to my guidance counselor, who was like low-key, like really freaking mean and judgmental. And I went to her and I was like, I really want to take AP art portfolio, and I think I'm going to drop those 2 classes. And I remember the look on her face was just like, are you sure? And I was like, yes, like, I'm pretty sure, like, I want to do this. She was like, okay. And she went typing on, like, her laptop, and it was just like, I know I'm doing the right thing. But yeah, and then I applied to RISD, got in, and that's it. We're here. Okay, so next is foundation year. Okay, so, okay, just to give like the basics, foundation year, for any of you who don't know, you have to take drawing foundations, design foundations, spatial dynamics, and 2 art history classes?
It's art history and then a language?
A language, like a liberal arts.
Yeah, like a literature class.
Literature, yeah.
I think. And then the second half, it was different. Mm-hmm. I had to take a hips class. Do you remember?
Oh yeah, so did I. I remember.
I think the second semester you get one choice. Like you get to choose one class. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
I didn't have a choice. It was 3 sections of the same class, so I just had to pick. But you get more of a choice that second semester. You get to pick one class out of all of the other ones.
Mm-hmm. I think, okay, when did we move in? It was like September of 2018. And
I think it was like August, but it doesn't really matter.
August?
Like maybe the end of August, because we need like orientation week.
Oh, you're right. Ew.
It was hot. I remember it was hot and I looked horrible.
Oh my, okay, so the freaking dorms at RISD, we were in freshman year. We could not choose where we lived. We could only choose our roommates after like talking to each other online.
Clean. We found each other.
Clean. Wait, tell them the story about like all the people that you talked to.
No, I feel if anyone who I talked to be my roommate is watching this right now, I'm really sorry. Like, I don't know. Elsa talked to me first on the RISD housing website, mm-hmm. and then she didn't respond back to me for like a month. And I talked to a few other people, and I don't know, they were all very nice, and I ended up meeting some of them later, a little bit, but I don't know, we were like, let's be roommates, and I feel like I didn't even ask any questions, like I didn't really know anything about you. And somehow it ended up being like the universe like collided,
exactly.
And like somehow we really liked each other, mm-hmm. and we really get along.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we always say it's like fate that we met. There's a lot of like weird things that just like, what do you call it? Like weird coincidences. But yeah, so freshman year we moved in and we stayed in, I think, is Nickerson the oldest dorm?
I think it is. I think it's Nickerson and then Homer is second oldest.
Okay.
And it is torn down now. They renovated the whole thing, so it's gone. We were the last people to be in it. Mm-hmm. It was horrible.
It was horrible. Untouched from the 70s, no AC, and we...
The construction site?
Okay, so where we lived in the dorm, we were like on the back side of the building. So right behind Nickerson, they had just freshly like dug up. There used to be like a green back there where like students could like lay down and hang out. And they got rid of it, which is really sad. So we could never use it. But I forgot. Oh, they were building the new freshman dorm.
Yeah.
For
North.
Yeah, North Hall. And so all freshman year, right behind us, right outside of our window, it was just like a big like dirt uncovered construction site. And every day there was like construction workers out there, and like sometimes like, did you talk to them from the window?
No, I think that was next to us.
Oh,
I didn't talk to them.
Okay. And then like I remember orientation week, when we were meeting everyone on the floor, the RA was like, here are these like dust filter things. You're going to need to put them on your windows if you want to have like a clean
Yeah, and
room.
you had to open your windows because it was really hot in there. So you had to open the windows so there would just be dust all up in there.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, like the first 2 weeks, like
we would get back to the room and like that's when I used to wear like full face of foundation and it would just be melting off my face. It was so brutal.
Mm-hmm. I've never showered that much in my life. Like I have to take showers like twice a day if I wanted to be, you know, like clean, because I just be drenched in sweat all the time. And at night we'd just be like lying in our beds like, ugh. Like suffering because there's no air circulation in that room at all. But yeah, that was our dorm situation in Nickerson. We grew to really love it towards the end, especially in the winter time. But when it got hot out, it was pretty interesting. School, the start of classes.
For me, it was a shock because I hadn't taken any like figure drawing classes. I hadn't been to pre-college. I didn't take AP art. I just took like 2 art classes at my school. So I wasn't ready and like it changed me.
It changed
I was
you,
a changed
really.
person.
Yeah.
And I wasn't like, you think you're going into it and you're like, I know what I want to do. I'm going to be this major. I know what kinds of stuff I like. And then you are forced to take classes and things. You have no idea what you're doing. Mm-hmm. Like my spatial class, I'm embarrassed. I'm not like a 3D person.
Yeah.
And I remember we had to make like models out of plaster and just like sculpture. We had the first day we had to make a sculpture on the spot, and I hope no one remembers what mine was like because it was really bad.
I think that's so cool that like I remember being like, wow, like before like when we were still getting to know each other, I was like, wow, like she did that. Like on the first day she did that.
It was not good. It was not good.
What was the wait, do you not want to say like the meaning behind it?
No, I don't. Okay. I don't want to talk about it.
Never mind. And then your design.
Oh, okay. I guess we could talk a little bit about like our teachers, right?
Yeah.
Should we say names? We could just say like notorious.
Yeah.
Okay, I had a notorious teacher the first semester for design, and it was. I remember going into RISD, there would be presentations of foundation year classes, and there was a coding class, and I remember thinking, I hope I don't get that class because it looks. I coded in high school, and I really didn't like it, and I got that class, and it was. It was okay because it wasn't a lot of homework compared to the other ones. You got to work on your assignments in class, but not my finest work.
Again, you did that. Like didn't you know how to code like a little bit from high school? Or no?
It was different. It was before I had to code a robot, and I wasn't good at that.
Oh.
And then next, you just have to like code into I don't even know what the program is. A program, probably. I don't know what it was called, but it wasn't Python.
No, it wasn't.
Because I remember I used that in high school.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a famous one. Starts with a J. JavaScript. I think it was JavaScript.
Did you use JavaScript?
It was either JavaScript or it was just called like programming CC or something weird. Doesn't matter. I had to do that, and you would basically every week you'd have an assignment. You'd learn something new and have an assignment like create for a song, create visuals on a screen, like a music video kind of, or like our midterm was to create a clock, and you just had to code things into the computer and have like a visual representation on the screen, and it was really hard. And I don't know, my final. It was also not just coding. The second half was film and sound. That was more interesting to me, but that was my first time filming anything. But my drawing class, I didn't have any. I think we had a figure come in once, and it was not charcoal. I had this expectation that we'd be drawing with charcoal from figures, and it was very conceptually based, which was like good for me because I wasn't trained in figure drawing, but I really wish I got that experience. But anyway, sorry, taking a long time.
Okay, so mine, we talk about this stuff all the time. We just like kind of like go over our memories and stuff.
Yeah.
And we always say like, sometimes we have like a hard time remembering specific things because the trauma makes you like block stuff out subconsciously. So like sometimes like I won't remember things from foundation year. I'll just be like, wow, like what's wrong with me? But so for me, I had like a little bit of experience with figure drawing. I mean, I was still really bad, but I like at least had been like in a room with like a figure model, and I kind of knew like what that environment was like. My drawing class was charcoal based. It was like the opposite of hers. The teacher, again, we won't say names, but very, very iconic RISD teacher. He's no longer there, but I'm really glad that I got to have him while I did. That it was almost very spiritual, you know what I'm talking about? Like you'd go into like the room in the, what is it called? The Waterman building, and you just sit down and there'd just be like one sunlight in the roof just shining on the figure model, and then everybody else in a circle just like very calmly drawing with charcoal, and it's just very like, I don't know, how do you say it? Like you have to be really in touch with like, you have to like zen out and just focus on only yourself. And that's kind of how he taught us as well, is to just like really just kind of like blur your eyes, blur your focus, and just kind of draw only with shadows and only with light, like no lines basically. And then design, I always forget fall design freshman year because that was just like really, really not. Again, everything in the end helps us and makes us grow. Like we're grateful for everything that we experienced.
Exactly. Like I complained, like I did horrible, blah blah blah, but it made us better people.
Yeah, it really did.
Like that embarrassment that I went through
made you strong.
Like when you go into a crit and it's 2 minutes of silence, that's when you know.
Oh my god. So my design, it was like low-key like political based themes. Like I remember for one project, we had to make like a big painting, like banner size painting about the First Amendment. And like she had some like her like lawyer friend come in and like give us a speech about like the First Amendment and like its history or stuff like that. And then like our final, it was based off of global warming.
I remember your book.
That one was actually interesting because you could, you know, do stuff based off of like landscapes and just environment, stuff like that. So it was a little bit easier than like the First Amendment, you know? But yeah, for that I made like a pop-up book. It was like covered with like fake grass and stuff. And it got into the book show that RISD had later that year. But that was really exciting. And then spatial dynamics. Again, I was really lucky because I feel like my foundation year, both of us, we had really, really iconic teachers. And I think most of them aren't at RISD anymore, right?
For me, one of them isn't.
Oh, okay.
But I know for you, you have more teachers that aren't there.
Yeah. So my spatial class, again, like really, really like not at all related to anything I was interested in at the time. It was all based around cardboard as a material. Cardboard was the only material we could use the entire time in that class, right up until like the last final. But the main assignment that we got was to make the cardboard modular chair. And that, okay, so typically like freshman year at RISD, teachers will give you like a week per assignment, sometimes 2.
Yeah.
But for that chair, it was 6 weeks. Like basically the entire class. No, the first 6 weeks it was the chair, and then the second 6 weeks of the semester was the final. So that chair, I don't even know how to begin to describe it. My brain at the time could not comprehend what he was teaching us, especially because I was not interested in like industrial design or architecture or anything like that. So I, like compared to like the other people in the class that were interested in that stuff, I was really far behind. Because like my brain just can't think in like that like technical kind of way. So basically, it was just like you had to make individual modules made out of cardboard that you could like take apart and reassemble in different ways to make a chair. And you had to be able to make these modules that could make a chair in like 3 different like styles, like 3 different like positions. Like a bench or like a classic like sitting up chair or just stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And that was definitely really crazy. I remember like cutting cardboard is so difficult. It requires so much arm strength. And like we just had the cardboard and like, what is it called? An exact
box cutter.
Box cutter. And so I remember my hands were just like covered in blisters all the time. And I was really sad. And I remember like when like we finally finished that assignment, like everybody had devoted so much like emotion and effort and time into it that when it ended, it was like, wow, like we're done. Like, we don't have to make
who am I?
chair anymore. Exactly.
Like what's my identity?
Exactly. I was
like,
I spent so much of my life making this chair and now I'm done. It was weird. And then the class took like a complete 180 from being like, you have to do this, meet these requirements, to like, okay, the prompt was formless and you can make anything you want. Which was honestly really cool. I actually really liked my final for that.
I was
in it! Yeah, she was in it. It was just like a sculpture made out of these like neon acrylic pieces because I wanted to make it look like a TV kind of. Again, like I don't really identify with any of this stuff anymore, but back then, like foundation year, you just had to make very, very conceptual stuff based off of like your experiences or like a story or anything. But yeah, that was basically it for fall semester.
I feel like second semester, for me, I enjoyed it more. Just because like I understood myself a little bit more, and you got the hang of what happened the first semester. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
Okay, can we talk about? I'm so excited.
You're ready to talk about it.
I'm ready. No, I want to talk about your. Okay, so let's talk about all-nighters.
Okay.
At RISD. I remember like it's just like a thing. Like if you go,
just gotta do it.
I feel like to art school in general and any college, but like especially art school because art takes time, y'all. Like you will be drawing and you'll be like, wow, 5 hours went by, like just like that.
Yeah.
But like fall, I think I only pulled maybe like 5 or 6 all-nighters. Right?
I feel like that's even a lot.
That's still a lot. That's really bad.
I think full all-nighters, maybe a little less, but we would stay up really late.
Yeah.
Like, I would go to sleep at, like, 5 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And
I know.
It was crazy because first semester they had the history lectures, and they would have them in between your studio. So you would go to studio until, like, 11 o'clock, and then you would have a lecture. So everyone pretty much went to the lecture because you were awake already and you're like, I'm gonna go, it's interesting. And then the second semester, they put the lectures at 8 a.m. Mm-hmm. And then your studio started at 9:30.
Yeah.
So no one went to the lectures, and it was a really big problem, and like everyone was getting in a lot of trouble.
Real.
Yeah, they were trying to like raise the incentive to go, and they were like trying to take attendance and everything. But anyway, so basically there was my design class, and I would put a lot of effort into my drawing class because personally I just was more interested in drawing. But then design would roll around every Thursday, and Wednesday night I pretty much would start my assignment on Wednesday for the week, and we would have it once a week, and I would
say it.
Okay, so I would be working and I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna finish. Working at my desk, and then Elsa would wake up, and she would look at me, and I would still be working. And she would just start laughing. I was so stressed, and like, my hands were shaking, like, I was really tired. And sometimes I would go to the lecture even after.
Yeah. So, okay, she would literally work from 9 p.m. until 9 a.m.
We would call it 9 to 9.
Every week for design, she would pull a 9 to 9.
And it was just sad because most of the time the result wasn't really that great.
Yeah. But like sometimes, like she would literally have like how long is that? Like 12 hours.
I guess so.
Like 11
You
or
need
12
more time.
hours of working all night long, and then she would go to the art history lecture the following morning.
So I would go into the bathroom at 7 o'clock. If I had time, I would take a shower, or I would just splash water on my face, get myself, go to the lecture, and just completely sleep the whole time and try my best to stay awake. And I remember one time I came back, I went to the lecture, went to class, and then it was our lunch break, and you get like an hour, 45 minutes or something like that. And I went back to the room, went into the bathroom, looked at myself in the mirror, and I had never seen myself look that bad. Like, my skin was really green and pale. My eyes were dark. Like, I just was not looking good.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never, in high school, I personally have never had an experience where I've ever fallen asleep in class. Never turned green, never fallen asleep in class, never pulled an all-nighter. And then I came to RISD and I felt guilty, but I was sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
And you see a lot of other students, they'll be sleeping.
Yeah. You fall asleep while standing up, sitting down. And, like, the teachers, like, I mean, the ones I had, they would notice if you were sleeping.
Yeah, they would. They would be more like, wake up, come on.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Re-energize yourself, let's go walk around. They'd be a little bit more understanding.
Yeah. Either that or they just wouldn't say anything. They'd look at you and they'd be like, and then just keep teaching. But yeah. I think, like, because we were younger back then.
We took it like champs.
Yeah, we took it like champs. Like, if we had to do that again with, like, the knowledge we have now.
I would just get fed up, and I would get fed up with the prompts, and I would get fed up with how much work they expect a lot from you, and it's a good thing because you change a lot, and I'm way different than I was before I came there. Mm-hmm. But I don't think I could focus.
I could never do that again. Like, these days, I need, like, at least 7 to 8 hours of sleep. I like, it would be a good night if you went to sleep at, like, 4 a.m.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, well, I can sleep for, like, 3 hours until 7 and then go to my 8 a.m. studio the next morning. That was, like, a good night. What else? Low-key, I don't really want... I mean, my spring semester was okay. Definitely a lot better, a lot more exciting. And the teachers, I think, were... I don't know. They gave more interesting prompts that made me more excited to work. Yeah, my drawing teacher and my spatial teacher, she... I'm not going to say her name. But she is, like, very experienced in, like, the industrial design field. She's a toy designer? Is that too, like...
No,
I might cut that out. I don't know if that gives it away.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone who didn't go to RISD would know that.
True, okay. But yeah, she was such a cool person. And I think the prompt for her final was to make an artifact from, like... a world, like a fictional world.
That was so cool. I really like that.
I know, that's actually really interesting. So, like, you had to come up, like, with an idea, like, okay, like, in a world where blank doesn't exist, or where blank is the norm, or something like that. So, like, after, like, so much brainstorming, I settled on the idea of, like, a world where, like, purses were illegal. Like, you couldn't have a purse, you couldn't have, like, an external bag or anything. And you could only have pockets. And, like, people got, like, surgical pockets, like, implanted onto their arm and stuff. And then there was, like, the group of, like, rebel, like, outsider...
Oh, yeah.
Like, people who would still have, like, purses, like, strapped to, like, their body under their clothes and stuff. Oh, God. See, like, all of this is just, like, so long ago and so weird to think about. But, like, I remember I really enjoyed that because I made, like, a movie poster based off of that. Like, a movie...
It was so funny.
Yeah, like, a movie where, like, someone who, like a normal law-abiding person that has, like, the surgical pocket falls in love with someone who has, like, a secret body purse under their clothes.
I wish that we could show because it's so funny.
I know, really show. I might, like, put it on the screen. Also,
it was me! I was in it!
It was you and one of our friends, Johnny. But I really enjoyed that. And then, what else? Design was snatched. I had a really young teacher for that, which is really interesting because I feel like I fall semester, all of my teachers were like over 60 years old. But then my design teacher for fall, for spring, it was really interesting to see like their approach to giving the prompts and also critique. And yeah, that's basically it.
We need to talk about critique.
Critique? Oh my god.
So, oh my gosh. When you answer RISD, you have to critique you have to take critiques from other people and you have to use it in a productive way and give them to other people. And like, I've never done that before. I've only been like, wow, that looks really good. It's so cute. I love that drawing. Mm-hmm. So when I got there, you have to be more like confident. Because you have to be able to like point out something that you noticed was like a design flaw and make it not personal. I have a problem. I feel like sometimes I go too hard.
Yeah.
I like it's hard to the separation between being too nice and being too mean.
Being too mean.
Or it's like you can notice like when you're critiquing somebody's work in a critique and say you watch somebody give somebody a harsh critique, sometimes that person who received the critique will give just as a harsh critique back. It's like, it can get personal and
it can get feisty.
It can get a little feisty.
You have to be careful to definitely not, like, take things too personally.
Yeah.
Like, that's another thing we had to learn freshman year is, like, they're not attacking you. They're just trying to help you.
Exactly.
But yeah, it definitely, like, that was the most nerve-wracking
there have been
part.
situations where, like, you could see somebody is doing it on purpose. Like, we have a little bit of a tea, but, like, I don't think we should talk about it.
Yeah,
but you could tell that people, like, deliberated before and started to talk about it, and you're like, they're trying to bring you down. Like, there's a reason why they're saying that stuff, and it's not because of us. It's because of, like, our behavior, not because of the work. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, a little bit.
A little bit.
A little bit. I don't think I ever had anyone come at me. Did I? I don't think so. I never had anyone, like, say, like, aggressive stuff to me.
I'm talking about the one situation with the group project.
What group project?
Not freshman year. It was sophomore.
Oh, okay. Totally forgot. Okay, I guess we can start talking about sophomore year now.
Well, yeah. Well, okay, I want to say one thing. I had a notorious teacher second semester freshman year, and he was my spatial teacher, and he's gone now, but you would know when you got him. Like, it was a big thing. And he was this older man. And he was really, like, it was really fun to talk to him. He was very intelligent, like, had his own opinions, but he was also a little bit problematic in his views. And his critiques were a little brutal. Like, you would present something that you had been working on for months. Like, the midterm project is, you start working on it almost immediately. And he would straight up be like, this is unacceptable. I'm giving you a midterm failing warning. Or he'd be like, I'm really disappointed in this. You should throw it away. Like, that kind of thing. And
wasn't there, like, a story where someone in a different section from you, he told them to pour lighter fluid and burn it?
No, that, I don't know who that was. I think that was in a drawing class. I don't think that was the same teacher, but that's
something different.
Yeah, it was just like,
but the teachers can be that aggressive sometimes.
Yeah, to the point where I don't think they needed to do that. That was a little bit that was too far, and it genuinely, like, breaks you down inside. Because when you come to a critique with something that you believe is good and everyone's silent, or, like, you could just tell no one likes it, you start to, like, question why you're there, like, who you are, like, am I really meant for this? Like,
exactly.
It just gets into your head a lot.
And especially, like, comparing yourself to your classmates all the time. That's another huge thing.
You're going to have amazing people, and you're going to realize that you're not the best anymore.
Mm-hmm. Like, especially if you're coming from high school and like you're one of like a few kids in the art program, you're like, wow, like, I got this, like I think I'm pretty good.
Yeah,
like, I know what I'm doing. Then you get there and everybody was that kid in high school that was really good at art. You might feel like a little bit lost in the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Eventually everything works out. What were you saying about your spatial class? Oh, we were talking about mean teachers.
Yeah.
For the most part, we're not trying to like talk shade on RISD or anything.
No.
There's all different kinds of people there, all different kinds of teachers.
And I think it's like really important to make sure that you're mentally okay. Come on. All right, whatever.
Anyways, our camera cut out, so we're back. Oh, my laptop.
Yeah.
Anyways, where did we leave off? Sophomore year?
Well, yeah. When you are a freshman, you have to pick your major before you become a sophomore, and it's like in February?
Yeah, like February or March, something like that.
And you have to declare a major, and up until that point, you were pretty sure what you wanted to pick, and then when you suddenly have to pick, it feels like everything's coming down, and you have no idea what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And we both initially put our majors in and went back and changed them.
Yeah. So up until like in like late fall, they had like open houses for every department that you could go and see, and you could see like the people that majored in that department in action, like in their studios working and stuff. And I remember because of the classes I was taking and what I'd seen of the painting department, I was like, this is so cool. I want to be a painting major. And because like the painting majors at RISD are cool AF. Like, let's be real. And I thought, because at that time, because of like my classes, I was making a lot of paintings. So I was like, okay, like, I guess I'm gonna do it. And I remember at the time, I was really nervous to declare painting, and I felt really like uneasy and uncomfortable. But I was like, that's normal. Like, I think you're just nervous to start. And I declared it, and then I remember like I went to like another open house, and then we also went to like a senior or like what do you call it? Like a biennial like painting major
gallery.
show.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the whole time I just felt really off about it. And then okay, did you declare illustration first?
Yeah, but okay, so I went into RISD thinking I would pick illustration.
Yeah.
And just through everything I'd done, I don't know, I felt like after I declared it, I was like, I picked it because I thought, like,
You should.
I was like, this is probably what I should pick because of the work I like making, and I'll be fine. I was like, I'll be fine. Mm-hmm. Like, I'll end up being okay, even though I'm nervous about it. And it just felt really wrong. And it felt like I just picked that major because I had no idea what else I would be like. Well, what else would I pick if I didn't pick illustration? Mm-hmm. And then we had a very dear friend who declared printmaking.
Can we say her name?
No.
But shout out to her.
She declared printmaking, and I was like, whoa! Like, I'm surprised. I thought she was going to pick illustration or something. And I asked her to kind of like show me around the printmaking building. And I got to meet the department head, and it just felt right. It just felt, I like making narrative art, but I want it to be more towards fine arts. Rather than, like, illustration, obviously you could do whatever you want, but it's more towards client-based work. Yeah. And I'm sorry, but I just can't do it. Mm-hmm. In printmaking, your assignment every week is, here's a technique, do whatever you want. Mm-hmm. And it just feels really good sometimes.
Yeah, it really does.
And then I told you about how I was going to switch, and then you were like,
mm-hmm. I remember, like, I didn't even, like, I never even went to, like, an open house. I never even saw the studio. But just based off of you telling me about it, I was like, I'm switching. And I got the application that day, and I switched to printmaking. And And I was like, this feels so much better. Like with painting, like I just felt unsettled the whole time because I was trying to make myself do something that I thought like I should do also. Mm-hmm. And I'm really glad I did because in the end, like I don't think I really would have fit into that department as well.
Yeah.
And printmaking, it's just more like I think we just fit in with the overall like environment kind of, and the teachers there, and just like that field in general. Printmakers is so interesting, and there's just like endless things to learn about, techniques, and also just like jobs and different like studio experiences that you can have, which is really cool. So
yeah, I think we've both like personally through printmaking. I think I've grown a lot, just as much as I grew freshman year. Like even though I went through a whole year of doing work and finding myself, I still like ended up switching and changing my ways the whole time during sophomore year. Yeah. And I feel like it helped me become more comfortable with what I like to do.
Yeah, I remember the start of spring semester, our sophomore year, we were genuinely really happy with how everything was going. Like we felt really at home in our department, and we loved the work that we were making, and we just felt really settled in and like happy and comfortable. And then
the coronavirus came.
She hit us.
And that was horrible, and we had to it was really hectic because a lot of people are international students and they had to stay in Providence while classes were online, or we had to move out really quick. I remember it was like a Saturday night, I think, and it was like midnight, and you were like in bed. Was fine.
Hold up. Like, we were both in bed, and I was on my phone, and I checked the email. Because, like, the week before that, there was a lot of, like, people, like, gossiping, like, what do you think is going to happen? Like, do you think this is going to shut
didn't
down?
We know we had to go home before we got that email? They were giving us 2 weeks, remember? Because they were like, you have until, when spring break starts, school is online, and you need to move out.
Yeah. And then, like, a week later, that night, I checked my phone, and I got the email, and it said, just kidding, you have to evacuate within the next 3 days and be off of RISD campus by then. Take all your belongings and just
and they were like, here are the resources for this moving service to store your items, blah, blah. If you need any help, let us know. And I was like,
you were crying.
My God. I was crying. And I had to call my mom in the morning, and she was like, we're coming tomorrow.
I was freaking shook. I was like, don't leave me here.
You have to be there alone.
Because she lives closer to Rhode Island, and I live many hours away. Still on the East Coast. But yeah.
Like, we both live, like, a good amount away, but way closer than compared to other people.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I live pretty close.
Mm-hmm.
Not revealing where.
But yeah, that was definitely a really interesting experience. It's weird because, like, well, everybody knows that, like, you can't do art school online. Like, everybody knows that, basically. But after, there's definitely, like, a really weird period of, like, adjusting to the online classes and, like, your new schedule and stuff. And in a way, like, assignments took even longer because you don't have access to the studios. And one of our cats is literally peeing right next to us in the litter box and is, like, making eye contact with us. Wait, be quiet. Damn. You can't hear, like, the trickling. Oh! He didn't even clean up.
Oh.
Anyways, yeah, it was definitely, like, a lot to get used to because everybody had to find a way to set up, like, their own at-home studio. Some people were luckier than others. Like, some people that were still at RISD or their house just didn't have, like, a lot of space and, like, access to, like... Because at the time, we were taking silkscreen, which is so physical, and you literally need, like, a hose, like a power washing hose to, like, clean your screen and stuff. You need a big area to print and all that stuff. And we were also taking litho.
Oh my god, that was really disappointing.
Yeah.
For lithography, that's something that you definitely can't learn online unless you were to just watch videos of people doing it. And we ended up, instead of like doing the actual process of printmaking, bless you,
thank you,
we would just draw pictures every week.
Yeah.
And it was just really, it was a little depressing at first. And like, ultimately I was like happy with what I came up with, and I think a lot of people did a really good job of making with what they had, but it was really sad.
Mm-hmm. Towards the end, though, like, honestly, we really loved it. Like, it was a really good time. And the teacher did a really good job of keeping everyone's, like, mood up.
I felt so bad. People were just, like, really done with it. It's hard to learn online. It's hard to watch somebody do something for 3 hours. And people were getting really fed up, and you could tell. But our teacher was, like, really good person. And she tried her best.
She really did. Yeah. And then the semester ended, and we were we were really happy, and we felt really accomplished that we still finished everything despite everything that happened. And we were really proud of ourselves. And like, I think we still like felt like we learned a lot, just in a different way.
Yeah. You learned to focus. I mean, it was a lot less printmaking. I think maybe I focused more on like drawing skills.
Concepts and stuff.
Yeah.
That was sophomore year. And then we ain't back anymore. We're on our gap year now. Like I said in the beginning, we're working on our business called LUCKYTOWN, which, do you want to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah.
Because you say it really well.
I do?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, LUCKYTOWN, it did not start out this way. We had a very different vision for how it would be before we met up. Before, in the summer, we were separated and just like thinking of like selling prints, like selling our own work, blah, blah, blah. And then we got together and we knew the name of the shop would be LUCKYTOWN, and then we like thought of this whole entire story of like a universe where the residents of LUCKYTOWN live and crazy things go on in this town, and it's not just a place where we sell things, it's more of like an ongoing story where we can build on it, and we see it going much more like more in the future than just a shop where we like sell random stuff, and where it's more of a themed thing.
Yeah. So everything we sell is related to the storyline in LUCKYTOWN, like all the weird stuff that happens. If you guys want to check out our Instagram, we post like more details about the story and stuff there, so you can kind of brush up on like the residents of LUCKYTOWN. Each of them have their own very unique individual personalities.
Yeah.
Do you want to give like a little taste? We have...
Oh my gosh. Yeah. We have created a few residents already, and we're almost done with making the plushies. We have never done that before, and it was a learning experience. It's not like printmaking.
Yeah, not at all. But yeah, we make the resident plushies, and we also make just normal woodblock prints, which is like our bread and butter. We love making prints. That's definitely the root of like all of our work. So you can purchase prints handmade by us, and then we're also making stickers.
We still have to figure that out.
Yeah, we're still figuring that out. Postcards, so you can send a postcard from LUCKYTOWN to like your friend or anyone you like that's far away from you. That's basically it.
That's it for now.
Yeah. So on this channel, we're going to be posting this podcast as well as vlogs. So for the vlogs, because there's two of us, we're going to do kind of like an alternating schedule. So 1 week, I'll be in charge of the vlog, and you can see things from my perspective. And then the next week, you can see things from Julie's perspective. And we hope that it'll just help you.
Did we not even like say our names?
Oh!
Oh my god.
Our names are, I'm Elsa.
I'm Julie.
We're both 20 years old.
Yeah.
Okay. Damn. I can't believe we forgot to say that. But yeah. So we hope that helps kind of give a sense of our personalities. We just thought it would be fun to show, our daily life, us working on stuff for the shop and just kind of like process videos and stuff like that. And just like general things that we do every day. So yeah, I'm in charge of the vlog this week. So I don't know if this video will go up before or after the vlog. We'll see. Maybe before.
I'm thinking before.
Get
ready because we're going to the mountains.
Stay tuned for my vlog. Yeah, we're going to the mountains. We're going to the mountains this weekend because we're really craving some of that good fall foliage. And we don't really have any of that in like our immediate area. So we have to drive a little. So we're going to take a nice hike. Go see some good old mountains. I'm really excited. And that's everything.
I think that's it.
Oh my god! This concludes the first episode of the LUCKYTOWN Podcast. Oh, next podcast episode. So for this one, like I said, we just wanted to be like a nice introduction to us, kind of. But from here on out, we're gonna kind of dive into the more specific topics that we're interested in that kind of relate to LUCKYTOWN. So like conspiracy theories, creepy stuff, true crime, all that stuff that kind of reflects what happens in our own town.
And also other fun.
Stuff. Yeah.
Just fun stuff.
Just like a mix of stuff.
Challenges.
Okay. Is that everything?
I think that's it.
Okay. All of our socials are linked down below if you want to follow us on our journey and get to know the town better. And we'll see you guys in our next video. Yay! Goodbye!
Bye!
Our first one's over! That was so good!
I want to literally watch all 30 minutes of it right